You are not someone who checks your portfolio every hour, but you are someone who has stared at a number on a screen, $98,400, $99,200, and felt something shift, a quiet tension, a strange disbelief. You have worked, saved, skipped things you wanted, said no when it was easier to say yes, and now you are close to a line you have heard about, the first $100,000. Everyone says it changes everything, but you are not sure you believe them, because right now it does not feel like a breakthrough, it feels like waiting. And that is the contradiction most people never talk about. This looks like patience, but it is actually something much stranger. It is the moment your brain stops trusting effort and starts trusting time. Let me say this clearly. If you have been grinding toward this number for years and you feel exhausted instead of excited, you are not bad with money. You are not impatient. You are not failing. Your brain is trying to protect you from something very real. The first $100,000 is not just a financial milestone, it is a psychological desert, a long stretch where you put money in and see almost nothing happen, where the growth feels invisible, where you wonder if you are doing it wrong. That feeling is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign that you understand effort, and effort is about to become less useful than stillness. Here is why this behavior shows up the way it does. Most of us learn early that money comes from work. You trade time, energy, or creativity, and you get paid. That is the model. That is the story. When you are trying to build wealth, your instinct is to work harder, save more, cut deeper. And that works for a while. From 0 to 10,000, effort is everything. From 10 to 50, effort still leads the way. But somewhere after 50, something strange happens. The money you already saved starts earning on its own. Not much at first, a few dollars, then a few more. But your brain barely notices because it is still looking for the reward of effort, and effort is giving you diminishing returns. Think about a week in your life. You work 40, 50 hours. You get paid. You set aside what you can. You check the balance, and it moved. Maybe $100, maybe $500. But in that same week, your existing savings might have moved $20 on their own. That $20 did not cost you a single hour of your life, and your brain just ignored it because it was not earned. It did not hurt. It did not require sacrifice, and so it does not feel real. This is the hidden trap of the first 100,000. Not laziness, not impatience. Your brain is literally wired to value what you suffer for more than what you receive quietly. But here's the part most people miss. The reason the first $100,000 is so hard is not just math, it's identity. For years, you have thought of yourself as someone who builds wealth through action, through discipline, through saying no. And now, slowly, the money is starting to work while you sleep, and that feels wrong. It feels like cheating. It feels like you should do more, check more, optimize more. But the people who actually cross this line do something counterintuitive. They stop trying so hard. Not because they give up, because they realize that effort and outcome have started to separate, and that separation is deeply uncomfortable for anyone who grew up believing that hard work is the only honest path. And this is where money becomes emotional. Imagine you are cooking. For years, you have been stirring the pot constantly, adding ingredients, adjusting heat, watching closely. That's effort. That's the first 90,000. Now imagine the pot starts to simmer on its own. The heat is steady, the ingredients are in balance. Stirring more does almost nothing. That's the moment right before 100,000. And most people panic. They stir harder, they add more, they change the recipe, because stillness feels like failure. But stillness is exactly what compound interest needs. It does not need your effort, it needs your absence. And that's the hardest financial lesson there is, not how to earn more, how to stop interfering. Your relationship with money changes completely at this stage. When you had less, every dollar you saved was a direct result of a choice you made. Skip the coffee, take the bus, work the extra shift. That felt good. That felt like control. Now, your growth is split between your choices and your money's choices, and you do not control the market. You do not control interest rates. You do not control time. The same behavior that built your wealth, vigilance, effort, attention, now becomes a source of stress because you can't effort your way through a market dip. You can't discipline your way through a slow year. You can only wait. And waiting is not a skill most financially responsible people ever learn to trust. The brain does something unexpected here. It starts to protect you by making you feel less excited, less hopeful, less motivated. That sounds depressing, but it's actually brilliant. Imagine if you felt intense joy every time you checked your balance and saw a tiny gain. You would check it 100 times a day. You would become obsessed. You would make impulsive moves. Your brain numbs you on purpose. It lowers your emotional volume so you don't chase, don't panic, don't sabotage. That flat, tired feeling you have right now, that's not burnout. That's your brain building a shield against your own eagerness, because eagerness is what makes people sell too early. Eagerness is what makes people chase risky returns. Your boredom is protecting your future. And yet you still feel it, the weight, the waiting, the voice that says nothing is happening. That voice is not wrong. Nothing dramatic is happening. But here's what changes after the first 100,000. The money you add still matters, but the money you already have starts to matter more. The relationship flips. For the first time, your savings contribute more to your growth than your salary does in a given month. Not every month, but some months, and then more months, and then most months. That's not magic, that's math. But it feels like magic because your entire financial life has trained you to believe that you are the engine, and now the engine is shifting. You are still driving, but the car is starting to roll downhill on its own. This behavior evolves, not disappears. You will not suddenly stop caring about money. You will not become carefree or reckless. What changes is your posture. You stop leaning so far forward. You stop gripping so tightly. You start to notice that some problems solve themselves if you just leave them alone. That's not laziness, that's wisdom. And it is only available to people who have suffered through the long silence of the first 100,000. The people who didn't give up when nothing was happening. The people who kept going even when it felt pointless. Those people do not have more willpower. They just understood, maybe without knowing it, that effort has a ceiling and time does not. If you are standing at 98,000 or 99 or 80, feeling like you're running through sand, here's what I want you to hear. You are not doing it wrong. You are not broken. You are not falling behind. You are in the strangest, quietest, most invisible part of the entire journey. The part where your old tools stop working and your new tools have not yet revealed themselves. The part where your brain is confused because it can't see the reward yet. But the reward is already there. It's just small. It's just quiet. And very soon it will not be quiet anymore. Not because you changed, because time finally has enough weight to speak for itself. And when it does, you will realize you were never waiting. You were building something that no longer needs you to build it. And that is not a loss of control. That's the whole point.